The Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Macro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Hey, welcome to Meet the Pressers. I'm Matt Mallory.
I'm Klint Macro.
We've got a very special guest, John Lovell's here today. We're going to talk about Warrior Poet Society, Warrior Poet Network, and all the great things he's got going on and what he's now, past, future, present, all that stuff.
All the things.
All those things.
Bring it on, man. Let's do it.
So, Klint, you want to start out?
Yeah. We had a discussion before when we were trying to organize this interview, and you're very protective of your family life, and I totally appreciate that. We were talking about being on social media, and although media is part of your kingdom that you've built through your training company, being protective of keeping yourself off of social media, not exposing yourself to that. So when you get into a situation like this at SHOT Show, which is just really like a big media event in many ways, right. What's your goal when you come here? When you woke up this morning, what did you want to do when you got here? What's the goal you wanted to achieve when you came here in the meet space with all the other people in the industry?
So it would shock people because I really do SHOT Show much differently than all the media throng out in all the halls behind us. Of my wife and I only come to SHOT with my wife. Mm-hmm. We wake up late, then we get a breakfast, hang out, we hit the show way late. I only have maybe 2 or 3 appointments. We walk around a little bit, meet some friends, and then we cut out early. And then we date. We go see shows, and we eat good food, and so really we do a little bit of work, and then we date. We have fun, and it's pretty good. We're not hustling. I put in my time doing that over the years, but really, as with my entire life, this is how I conduct my business. This is how I do basically everything. I'm a man in search of balance. If there's a scripture that says, be sure to live life worthy of the calling that you've been given. And I'm like, man, what in the world does that mean? I've come to believe, interpreting that a man is made successful by what priorities they make and how well they balance between them. And what I see in America, what I see as our almost default setting, is we slip out of any type of balance and idolatrize any one thing. So you make a big splash in social media or training, and then all of a sudden you want to maximize and make everything hyper efficient, and what you end up doing is taking from all the other areas of life to prop something up to get a massive momentum, and you end up losing the things that really matter the most. And to me, my faith and my family are crucially important, and in my search for building business or whatever, I don't want to lose what's most important. And so I have to say no a lot and put guardrails and parameters, and I make a lot of people upset in that way. But I will have balance in my life, and I will be tyrannical in my pursuit of it.
That's good.
So
that old saying is, you love what you do and you don't ever work a day in your life. I think sometimes that's, we lose sight of that because we just, especially as men, right? We're the breadwinners, are the ones that want to bring home the food to the family and stuff, and we just kind of go, and then the family suffers to an extent. I know this is my, I think, 10th or 11th SHOT Show, and in the beginning, my wife came with me, I think the second year that I came, and it's every year. She goes, oh, you're going to SHOT Show. Man, I wish I could go again this year because we're so busy at home. We've got an Airbnb rental, and we've got a small hobby farm, so we had a lot of things going on at home, so it's harder for her to get away, and we've got an 8-year-old at home too, so it's a little harder to do that.
That's great.
But trying to balance that's tougher.
What's so funny is we've got all this guns and gadgetry and whatever, and then you say you got a hobby farm. I'm like, wait, I want to hear about your hobby farm.
Bees and chickens.
So I like guns and I like training, and that's my job.
Right.
I've heard the old adage of love what you do and you never work a day in your life, and there's a nugget of truth in there. There's a kernel of truth. But after you've extracted that kernel, I can kick that adage to the curb and say, that sucks. If you do anything long enough, it'll feel like work.
True.
And so man, you still got to grind out, you still got to do stuff that you don't want to do.
Right.
And so I get the point, absolutely. But balance in all things, right?
Smart.
So,
wisdom,
yeah.
a lot of wisdom there.
That's good. That's good, man. I'm on the pursuit. I'm after
the gray
it.
hair, right?
It's coming in.
I think a
away.
lot of times people will identify who they are by what they do. And especially entrepreneurs, like if we don't know where your next paycheck is coming from, you got to work, and that's to feed the family. But oftentimes we kind of leave the family over there while we're doing this thing over here, and it takes discipline to have that balance.
Sure, and it'll take a few years of economies of scale. I remember when my wife and I was first starting Warrior Poet Society, and I was having a grind, man. I was gone every other week. I was gone. I was training all this, just killing myself, and quite scared, trying to get things off the ground and pay the bills. And I had 2 brand new kids, like babies, 1 toddler and 1 other infant. And I looked at my wife. I'm like, I'm about to have to push real hard in business. I have to really do this. But if I could really grind out for a couple years, I think I'll be able to downshift and reinvest more in family time. And it's not that I wasn't doing family time for 2 years, it's that I was doing less family time than I thought healthy and less family time than I wanted to do. And she was on. I got buy-in from my wife. And so she understood the plan.
That's important.
And it was going to suck. And we're going to do something, and then true to form, after 2 years, it ended up working where I did downshift, meaning, okay, my goal this year is to make a little less money, a little less effort, a little less hours, and I'm going to log some time with family and church. I'm going to invest in other areas, which I wanted to do more of. And so, you can't give 110%. You can give 100%, but you dice up that 100% across all of life.
Everything. Yeah.
So if you give life 100%, that means you're giving family 0.
Yeah, it's valid.
And so, man, that math means you're gonna make a crushing career and have a few different divorces under your belt.
And we're seeing that more and more in Hollywood for sure, but even in our industry, we're seeing that we put so much time into the industry, but then the family kind of suffers from that. And
no thanks.
My wife
I don't
and
want to do
always, it. We've been married 32 years, and we always hear that, and we're just like, man, it hurts to hear that because it takes effort for a relationship, and we all go through our ups and downs in relationships, but it's just so frustrating as a Christian to hear that, see that, and know that maybe I could have done something to help, but it's taboo to have that conversation, right? You don't talk about faith, you don't talk about politics, which is one of the things we base this show on. Is we want to talk about faith, we want to talk about politics, along with pressing triggers.
Yeah, I found like about 2 years ago, I woke up at home and I didn't know where I was. I had spent like 160 days that year in a hotel room traveling around and teaching, and prior to that time frame, I would take my son with me. So I was kind of spoiled, so I felt like I was doing the work thing and also having the family thing, but my wife wasn't there, so I was certainly neglecting my wife. And when I woke up that day not knowing where I was and then realizing I was home, I was like, I got to start dialing this back. So I've tried to cut back on the classes too. Yeah. So I actually have a quick question. I was wondering, as you started your business, when you were really putting all that time in, was there a point in time when you finally kind of went, whoa, this is really working? Was there an event or anything that led to that realization, or is just that dogged work effort you started to see the fruits of your labors?
So when we turned 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I felt that. I'm kind of like, wow, I am doing well. I'm like, well, I mean, do I need to walk different? Do I talk different? How does one with 100,000 followers walk? I need to walk like that. And so now I'm of course hamming it up. I'm making fun of myself, but there was a moment where I was processing some of the stuff that was happening, and wondering how much I was going to let it, if any, affect who I was, how I'm going to interact with people, how that hits me at home. And I decided to let nothing outside of my real world, the real interactions of friendships, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. And I will not be different either.
Amen.
And so that was the protection, that was the guardrail. And so, but there was an impasse where 100,000 subscribers, there was a temptation there to be changed by the praise. There's a proverb in the Bible that says, a man is tested by his praise. Because, and I think it's just like you can get tested by adversity, challenge, controversy, you can also be tested by praise. You start to think that you're someone special. You start to think that you deserve something. You start to feel entitled. You start to feel like you're a big deal, and you start lumping on arrogance and pride. And you don't realize it, but the moment that happens, you cease to have the worthiness you might have possessed before. That contrite, humble spirit, which was a engine for your success before, now you lose yourself along the journey. And that's too high a price for me. And so, man, I check off social media, I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Don't read the comments.
And, once work's up, I want to turn work off, and it's just, here's my family, here's my friends, here's my church, here's, family, and this is what's real. Good. And this is what's raw. And so, but there was a challenge there. Now I don't really care. No, I don't care. Now when people come up to me like, hey, Warrior Poet, this, thank you, whatever, it's not that I'm elevated, it's that, same fraternity. We see each other, we see the world the same way.
Nice.
Okay, then we're brothers on mission. And so it's not like they're pining at me, it's that, hey, I don't have many people in my life that see the world the way I do, but Warrior Poet Society does. And so I found an instantaneous camaraderie, and that's what people come up to me about, and the movement's huge now, and that's great, but I feel like I'm on mission with a bunch of people. Good. I don't have a collection of fans.
That's good. That's
it's a different thought.
That's a different focus. That's good. With the Warrior Poet Society and the network, when you started building that, was that from the get-go, that mindset as far as being a society? I mean, the name's society, right? Yeah. And then the network bringing other like-minded societies, if you will, into the network. Is that kind of the whole... Yeah,
my Warrior Poet journey, that was a personal thing, and I ended up going out loud with that. I invite other men. Hey, there's the archetype of the warrior, there's the archetype of the poet. A man should be fully warrior and fully poet. I'm on that mission. Anyone else want to come? All right. Then we are a brotherhood. We're a community. We are a society. Warrior Poet Society. Now, Warrior Poet Society Network now is our streaming service. It's answer to big tech, who hates us viscerally. They're antithetical to every value I hold dear. They hate. And big tech and the oligarchs that manipulate and control us through untold amounts of propaganda and AI. They have a plan to quarantine us like viruses and crush us out of existence while they replace us with silly cat videos, pubescent girls twerking on TikTok, and any kind of leftist crap. And so they're going to quarantine us and choke us out of existence. And so the only way to ultimately stay in business and stay relevant is to have your own audience. And so, okay, we'll make our own streaming service that you can't censor. And you can't shadow ban us. And so that's where it is. I am building something on enemy terrain. So I need a website. I need a streaming service. I need email list and phone numbers. And if I don't have any of that, then they're not my audience. That's YouTube owns your business, and they can shut you off with a button.
Yes.
And our movement is too noble and illustrious for me to allow that to happen.
So on that note, what other like-minded channels and individuals can you find on the Warrior Poet Society Network, and how do people find out about it and get involved?
So we have a bunch of industry friends and partners, like YouTubers who are just buddies of mine who have big channels, some millions of followers. We'll back up their content on the network.
Okay.
But also we have our own shows, like we have our own TV style shows.
Yeah.
Some of that will be talking heads, some of it will be far more interactive, some of it will be riotously funny, some of it will be newsworthy stuff, some of it's kind of like documentary style.
Right.
Just sent a team to South Africa to film the toughest bike race on the planet, Munga, and we just aired that. And then we have all of our training classes, so if people want to learn how to end somebody from a different zip code with a long gun, we got classes on there to do it. We got concealed carry and rifle classes, and so, bro, we got all kinds of stuff.
Nice. Cool. WarriorPoetSocietyNetwork.com?
Yeah, watch WPSN.com, but you can type in Warrior Poet Society Network. You can download the app, WPSN. But really, mothership is WarriorPoetSociety.com. WarriorPoetSociety.com will take you to book or website, retail, network, all of it kind of goes out from there.
Super.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day and sharing this
My pleasure.
opportunity with us.
My pleasure.
We are Meet the Pressers. I'm Matt Mallory.
And I'm Klint Macro. Meet the Pressers is a safe place for trigger pressers to congregate and talk about all kinds of different things that are firearms related, defensive training, guns, gear, gadgets, political activism, and politics.
Make sure to check us out on all the social media platforms, on television, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV, all the audio platforms, as well as all of the other YouTube, Gunstreamer, etc.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Watching Meet the Pressers.